Hi, I'm Jim Berger, and I'm pastor at Holy Cross Lutheran Church in Houston, Texas. This is the 6th Sunday of Easter. The text is John 5, 1 through 9, out of the C series. Victor showed up at the Lindsberg Municipal Swimming Pool one hot summer day. He was a naturalized citizen from Russia and a soldier at Fort Riley. He was an old man, at least 21. He'd heard about the pool and drove 75 miles to try it out. Our pool had 3 springboards of different levels and a 10-foot depth with long lanes. Victor watched us children play in a contest of who could displace the most water with a dive. There were cannonballs and can openers, barrel rolls, watermelons, depth charges, and preacher's seats. All calculated positions to enter the water with the biggest splash off of the 3-meter board. It was a boring game all summer long, but who could make the biggest splash? Victor watched carefully while patiently waiting in line. When it was his turn, he climbed the ladder, adjusted the fulcrum as far forward as it would go, with the least amount of spring, and went out to the end of the board for a couple of test bounces. Then he stepped back only 3 paces, checked to make sure the lifeguard wasn't looking, raised his arms and started his approach. His first bounce took him 10 feet into the air, where he did a languid back somersault, landing on the diving board for a second bounce, which lofted him even higher. He tucked into a tight spin, and by the time his face passed the diving board, he had spun 3.5 times and had opened up for a perfect entry. But at the last millisecond, he tucked tight again. The thunderous thud when he hit the water sounded like a crisp cannon. A solid column of water went straight up 25 feet into the air, and when it opened, it made a rainbow. We were stunned, breathless, mouths agape. We knew we were in the presence of an Olympian. Victor didn't even use the ladder. Coiled like a spring at the bottom of the pool, he shot up out of the water like a seal being chased by an orca, walked over to me and asked, "Do you want to learn how to dive?" The Pool of Bethesda. It began its life around 800 BC when a dam was built across the Beth Zeta Valley as a reservoir for rainwater and spring water bubbling out of the hillside. 200 BC, 600 years later, the Jewish high priest Simon II enclosed the channel to form a shallow pool on the south, downhill side of the dam. Near the Shape Gate, this downstream pool was used to bathe and clean the sacrificial sheep. The water ran straight out from there and didn't pollute upstream where people swam. With 5 porches, the upstream pool had something for everyone. A place for invalid worshippers of Asclepius, the Greek god of healing. A place for bathers and swimmers. A place for a brisk business in concessions, and on the fringes of the pool, a place for squatters, beggars, and the homeless. At its deepest, the pool was 40 feet deep. You better know how to swim. The water rippled from the welling springs and was sometimes turbulent with seismic activity. There were chambers, caves, and shallow baths all around, some of which might have given the priests and the priestesses of Asclepius underground access to install billows into boreholes to pump air into the pool and cause bubbling, like a jacuzzi. Offerings could be solicited to elicit the bubbling. Helpers could be hired to manage getting people into the water. It was lucrative. It was a racket. You could pay to get wet, to get well. Food, wine, drinking water, and towels also available for a nominal fee. strong economic competition with the temple and its offerings. That's the pool. Now here's the man. In Greek, the word for paralyzed is paralytos. There's a surprise. That word is not in the text. Asthenia is the word that John uses, which means strengthlessness, weakness, impotence, infirmity, sickliness. That's the empathetic sort of positive spin translation. A few more negative synonyms include sluggish, stagnant, inert, slack, indolent, idle, lazy. Let's be nice and stick with strengthless. Multitude of people having these characteristics are described as habitués of this pool. Jesus has been there many times. He knows exactly what to expect. The strengthless man, the weak man, has been there for 38 years. That's longer than the average lifespan of a man back then. He must be doing pretty well. Jesus was a regular attender there of religious festivals. The pool was a fun place to cool off and meet people. He has probably seen this particular strengthless man plying his trade for at least 18 years. The strengthless man as an infant and child would have been a beggarly gold mine for his hungry family. When he reached adulthood at age 12, his career path was set. He lived at the pool. The pallet Jesus tells him to pick up and walk away with is not a beach towel. It is not a yoga mat. It is a bed made of branches, twigs, leaves, and fronds. It would be heavy and awkward to move. Moving it would make you lose your place. Some scholars say this represents the common Jewish people kept weak and dependent on the debilitating rabbinical traditions. It might simply mean that anybody can get stuck, and Jesus can jar them back into action. On the other hand, John, the gospel writer, a master of language, and he has fun with it. In Greek, it would sound something like this. Jesus tells the weak man to pick up your krabaton on the sabbaton and periepate. That's funny. It sounds delightful. It rolls off your tongue better than pick up your bed and walk. It's the Sabbath. The man who has capitalized on being perceived as a weak victim does not ask for healing, probably does not welcome a radical change of lifestyle. Faith isn't even mentioned here or an issue, unless you buy into the magic water scam. Clearly, neither Jesus nor the man believe in that silliness. 38 years is time enough for continental drift to drop him off in the pool without him moving a muscle. Jesus doesn't do anything that resembles a common healing ritual or a doctor-patient patronage, where you go for treatment, you get results, and you pay a lot. It's a simple setup. Jesus saw him, he knew him, and he said to him, "Do you want to be sound?" Once again, we have another Greek word. It means healthy, whole, restored to family and faith community, sound in body, mind, opinion, and viewpoint, and logic, strong, clean. The word is a root word for hygienic. And this man doesn't even consent to these improvements. He's comfortable with being stuck. Jesus is not comfortable with him being stuck. There was a man who had really bad body odor. He went to the doctor. Doctor gave him a thorough examination. He said, "I can't find anything wrong with you, but you really stink. What do you do for a living?" Man said, "Well, I work at the airport, cleaning and emptying the toilets on the airplanes. You're working under the plane. A lot of blue water and excretions spill out on me." Doctor said, well, it smells like you might want to get a new job. The man protested. He said, what? And get out of aviation? When Jesus encountered the weak man, he saw potential. He didn't see deficiency. He saw soundness and wholeness were lurking in the wings there. He saw someone who had given up or was doing okay. All he needed to do was stand up. We have things that prop us up in our stuckness. The magic words, the healing pools, the comfortable palate, the steady income, the pitiable but profitable weakness, the excuses, and the reasons why not. Jesus says, take the bed. Don't return to weakness. As long as the mat's near the pool, the weak man will go back and relapse into hopelessness, stuck in the worries of the week. Jesus redirects our focus away from the pool and the magic and all that stuff, directs us toward God. He reconnects us to God out of the isolation of the worries of the world. Get off the couch. Get involved. Jesus asks, do we want to be made well? What is our impediment? Is it self-imposed? Or am I comfortably stuck? What do I need to change or let go of? Is there anger or grief or holding back forgiveness that weakens? And Jesus will make us sound and healthy and whole. He does it. No questions asked before we even know it's necessary or think we want it. No stipulations other than pick up the impediment and walk away with it. Jesus doesn't even check us to see if we're deserving or not. He simply proceeds to pronounce us sound and whole. This is the good news. Jesus came into the world that we may have life and have it abundantly. John 10:10. Amen.